You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Jackson, host of Sassy Seniors. How's everyone doing? Did you have a good Thanksgiving? I had a great one. I went to Chicago, visited my family. It was very small. There was only 4 of us. We cooked so much food, and we had so many leftovers. I'm sure you did too. So I was able to take some back home with me when I came back to St. Louis, and I'm still eating them. But we had a good time, and I hope that you were able to spend it with your family and or friends. Well, you know, the month of November is one of my favorite months, not only because the weather gets colder outside and the leaves turn, but it is National Adopt a Senior Pet Month, and we're at the very tail end of it. So this is my opportunity to remind all of you to give the gift of a forever home to a senior. You know, I have my website, arf.com, and our tagline is that we celebrate senior pets, which we do each and every day. And I kind of like to think of our seniors, they're kind of like a fine wine, because dogs age so well. There are endless benefits to adopting a senior pet. You can see those on my website. And, you know, visit your local shelter. There's always a senior dog or cat waiting to be adopted, or you can also contact local groups in your area who specialize in senior pet adoptions and who also foster senior dogs. Well, my guest today knows all too well about seniors because she raised her dog from puppyhood all the way up until he was 20 and a half years old. So my guest today is Bernadine Santistevan. Did I say it right?
Yes, that's correct. Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited about being on your show with you.
Well, we're happy to have you. And you raised your beloved pooch, Paco Sosa, until he was 20 and a half years old?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And he was a little celeb in New York.
Yes, he was New York's oldest dog at the time of his passing, and he was a celebrity.
Well, you know, even though he passed away February of 2010, and when you have someone, a being in your life for all of those years, I can't imagine he's more than a member of your family.
Oh, yes. I mean, for me, Paco, growing up with him and then being adults with him, and then the last couple of years essentially taking care of him like he was my grandfather, I learned so much going through the whole life with him. To me, he was my greatest teacher, truly.
And for that reason, you decided to film a documentary. Not a documentary, I'm sorry. A film, actually, right?
Yeah, it's a film called Wolf Dog that actually was inspired by something really magical that happened, an experience that Paco and I shared the last few weeks that we were together that led us back home to New Mexico, which is where we were both from, to seek out the teachings of the ancient ones, the elders in the Native American and indigenous Spanish community, of which I'm a member, to seek out their teachings about animals. And it was an amazing experience. And we had originally set off on this journey because Paco had a major seizure, and against all odds, he survived. And something very unusual happened. The night I brought him home from the hospital, I had a dream that convinced me that Paco, for some reason, wasn't at peace with letting go, and that I had to take him back home to seek out the ancient ones to get help for him. And, you know, I woke up, I just couldn't believe this dream, and I knew it was just the craziest thing in the world to do this, to follow this dream. But Paco and I had been together for 20 years. And, you know, as you said, he was more than family. Mm-hmm. And I felt like if there was any chance that going back to New Mexico and taking Paco with me could help him in some way, then I was going to do something crazy. So we set off on this journey to New Mexico and met up with our ancient ones. And, you know, to make a long story short, just some incredible things happened along the way. And I learned that this journey wasn't about me helping Paco. It was really Paco helping me, before his passing to make sure I would be okay.
Isn't that amazing? Because as we were doing our pre-interview last week, and you were saying the film just kept evolving every day. You kind of set out to do one thing, and then it turns out to be something else.
Yeah, and even actually what happened is when I had this dream, I decided I was going to take Paco back home. I didn't even know why. I didn't even necessarily plan on making a film, but I just somehow knew that I had to document this journey we were taking. So I convinced the cameraman to follow us around. And yeah, the whole film was a process of discovery along the way. And even after Paco's passing, because I've been working on the film, way past that, it's still been, up to even just a couple of months ago, I was still discovering some of the elements of the story, and it's just been really magical, an amazing process.
Now, your family, which is, I think, so fascinating too, you said your family has been in New Mexico over 400 years, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. We come from a colony of Spaniards that left Spain during the Inquisition, and we first settled in what's now known as Mexico, but then the Mexico City Inquisition started, and then we migrated up to what's now southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. At the time, it was referred to as the end of the earth because it was so isolated. So that's where my family's been for over 400 years. So we're considered the indigenous Spaniards of the country, really, and we were here even before the Pilgrims came.
Wow, that's just fascinating. And so much of that, obviously, was taken into the film because you visited people of New Mexico. I can't even think of what the wording would be.
Yeah, we visited, refer to them in the film, and we do back home as the ancient ones, los ancianos. And because I have a long history in New Mexico, I have special access to these people, many of whom would not really allow themselves to be filmed in general or in this manner. And so we visited with elders from my Spanish community as well as from the Navajo and the Pueblo Indian communities of New Mexico, the ancient ones. Yeah, it was quite magical.
And this had to have been a learning process for you because you are a former venture capitalist and you worked in private equity.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I've worked
completely opposite of what you're doing.
Yeah, it is. And essentially, I basically left my job to be able to take Paco back home. And, this isn't something that, it makes no logical sense whatsoever. But, it's just sometimes you got to follow your heart.
That's right. That's right.
Especially when it comes to our animal friends and family.
Well, let's talk about, and we'll get back to the documentary because you really need to raise funds because you're finished filming it, but you have a lot left to do, and it's not cheap. I mean, it comes with a price, and we'll talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that and what our listeners can do to help. But let's talk about how you and Paco got together.
I believe Paco and I both come from New Mexico, as I mentioned, and that was quite some time back. And, I believe our animals choose us. I don't believe we choose them, even though we think we do. And, so for many years I did believe that I chose Paco, but I realize now that they come to us to do things like what Paco did for me. He was my greatest teacher, and he's helped me become who I am as a person.
And you got him when he was what? Puppy.
He was a puppy. He was actually 4 months old when I got him. So he was actually a little older than when people get some puppies or a lot of puppies. And actually that's one of the reasons I wanted him, or I thought I chose him, is because I kind of was feeling like other people may not choose him because he was not as small as the other puppies. And that's why, I've even advanced much more than that these days, and that's why I love what you're doing because, elder pets are so often the pets that people typically wouldn't choose because they are older. And it's so important for us to take care of everyone in our community, including the older pets and the older people. And I know that something I'd mentioned to you in our pre-interview is one of the things that Paco showed me, especially in the last couple of years of his life, where he needed much more attention and care, is that in our society, people start getting gray or wrinkles, and suddenly, so often, they become invisible. And
I know. This society.
The same thing with pets.
Yes, we are so obsessed with youth. It just, in America, we are. And you're right. It goes from the humans to the pets. We love young.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And, even as I remember you mentioning, if we can't even respect our elder people, I mean, imagine with pets how much farther away we are. So he truly showed me this aspect of society and has opened my eyes to being more sensitive about this. And yeah,
Paco,
it's been amazing.
Paco was a dachshund.
Yes.
And as we call them, wiener dogs here in the United States. He was a cute little dachshund. Did you ever imagine that, he truly against all odds, because typically the lifespan of our dogs, depending on their breed, whether smaller breeds, do live longer. Did you ever imagine that he would live to be the ripe age of 20 and a half?
Never. You're a kid and you get a dog, or at least I did, and I never imagined I'd be spending like most of my life with him, with a dog, or, I just, it was just never imagined that.
Yes. And like you were saying earlier, and I know other people who are listening right now, other pet owners can attest to this. It really is so interesting when you get a dog. Often people do, they get them when they're puppies or, maybe up to a year old. And you see truly before your eyes that aging process through the years. And it's really humbling how you see them go from a feisty little dog to a dog that truly is, toward the end stages of their life. And it's really fascinating to me.
Yeah, and that reminds me, like one of the things in the last, because Paco was pretty feisty and pretty mobile until he was about 18, and then he slowed down a lot. And the last couple of years, I had to get special equipment for him to walk, to help him and so forth, and it was important for him to walk a lot to keep his joints, in shape. But a walk that would normally take us about 5 minutes was taking us up to 30 at times, because and we live in New York City, where people move quickly.
Yes.
So Paco and I would be walking very slowly, our walks, and it taught me a lot about patience as well. It really taught me a lot about patience. But something remarkable that started happening at that point is that I literally, no exaggeration, almost every day at least one person would come up to us and say, "Bless you." To Paco and or me. And when it first started happening, I was like a bit taken aback because it was very unusual, to say the least. But then it just kept happening over and over and over. And so finally I just started blessing people back. I didn't know what else to do. I was like, thank you, bless you too.
Bless you back.
So, and I became I used to enjoy going out and getting blessed with Paco. It was like it turned into a very fun, from an unusual to a fun walk for us.
Right. Oh, I love that. That's a great story. Well, Bernadine, we're going to take a quick break, everyone. And when we come back, we're going to talk about whether maybe Bernadine has the secret to the fountain of youth when it comes to our pets. I want to talk more about her film and also some of the collaborations that you have, including you two. So,
yes. Mm-hmm.
So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Is the coast clear?
Yes, let's go.
Are you sure they went to Petco?
Where else would they go?
Oopsie.
Calm down.
I smell presents.
Go to PetLifeRadio.com/Petco and get up to 40% off hundreds of holiday items at Petco. PetLifeRadio.com/Petco.
Uh-oh, step on it.
Okay.
Oh, not on my tail.
Petco, where the pets go.
Dyson.
The new Dyson Animal Vacs are powerful bagless upright vacuums for homes with pets. Air muscle and radio root cyclone technology generates the strongest suction power to powerfully remove dust, dirt, and pet hair from the home or car. To order your Dyson Animal Vac, go to PetLifeRadio.com/Dyson. PetLifeRadio.com/Dyson to order your Dyson Animal Vac today.
Dyson. Music to your ears.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available on iTunes.
It's the holidays at PetSmart, so come one and all. There are hundreds of gifts for pets big and pets small. Toys only at PetSmart, so special and new. They'll love the gifts. You'll love the value. Hurry to PetSmart today for your very best friend and save 30 to 50% before the holiday ends.
The holidays are just around the corner. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. So shop early and save money. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart today.
Hi, my name is Brent Atwater, and I'm the Animal Reincarnation Authority. Join me every week on Alive Again and let me look at your pet's energy to determine if they're going to reincarnate. I'll be able to tell you when they're going to come back and what they look like. So send me your pet's photo and email me your question at brent@petliferadio.com. I'm looking forward to answering your questions on Alive Again.
Every week only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sassy Seniors. I'm your host, Kelly Jackson, and I am with Bernadine Santistevan. She is a filmmaker, and she has a film that will be coming out with the help of you, hopefully, called Wolf Dog. And it's about her 20-and-a-half-year-old dog, Paco Sosa, who died last year. But it's also about so many other things, the circle of life and going back to her New Mexico roots. And to put a film together, and you said it's kind of like a new wave of filmmaking where it's kind of reality meets fiction, right?
Correct, yes. So it's not a documentary and it's not totally just fictionalized. So the 20 days that we were actually in New Mexico filming with the Ancient Ones, all that, everything that was filmed there, for the most part, it happened. You know, we didn't stage anything. We filmed these encounters with one camera. You had one take. It happened, and that was it. That's what you had. But then there's some components that we filmed in New York during 15 days where they were sort of setting up the story that led to New Mexico for the most part, sort of reenacting some episodes or small components that were fictionalized. So there was a part that was shot in New Mexico documentary style, but then you had the part in New York that was shot like a regular film, and then they were combined together. So, yeah, it's a new wave.
Yeah, and you even have like some animation within the film.
Yes, we have about 8 minutes of animation in the film because what was really fascinating, when we met the Ancients, it was all about teachings that we get from animals. There was a lot of that involved. And every time, within the context of the film, the story, every time Paco and I meet one of these Ancient Ones, there's something that they say that triggers an animation story to come within the film. An animation story includes an indigenous story of what animals have to teach us. So in creating these animation elements, an amazing Emmy Award-winning animator came on board. He was very inspired by Paco's story and came on board. And what we ended up doing, we spent 1 year working around the clock on just the 8 minutes of animation to create animated Navajo sand paintings. Navajo sand paintings are an ancient religious art form. And so he developed a new technique that was developed for this film that's never been done before to animate sand.
Oh, my.
And it was just absolutely stunning work. And it's just, it's so beautiful.
I cannot wait to see this film. Now, here's the deal. If you go on her website, it's indiegogo.com, right? / Wolf Dog.
Yeah, basically, we have a campaign to raise some money on indiegogo.com. And if you look up Wolf Dog, my project will come up. And we're currently looking to raise the final funds that we need to pay for some animation and music costs for the film that will complete the film, essentially. And we only have a few more days left on the campaign. So,
December
every little
6th, is that right?
Correct. And, you can donate as much as $10 to as much as you want, higher than that. And every dollar helps tremendously.
And every dollar goes to this film because you break it down on the website, what every dollar is needed for. And that's what I like about it. So people do know what it's going to.
Yes, absolutely.
And the other thing I love about this is that you hope to share this. Obviously, you hope to get a distribution deal, but you also hope to share this with shelters across the country too, right?
Yeah, my plan is to provide the film to various animal organizations to use, not only to spread the word about honoring animal life and the many things that animals have to teach us, but also, so that they can use it as a fundraiser for their own efforts. So I truly want this film, my hope is that this film will open eyes around the world to the amazing gifts that animals bring us, but also that it can help organizations financially as well, further their efforts. So, yes, that's my hope.
Now, how does YouTube, because you do a lot of collaborations, how do they come in the picture?
Well, what's really exciting is that so many people out there, amazing people, have been inspired by the film and have contributed. So one of the groups on the music side that has donated some music to the film is U2. And it took me 3 months to get a hold of them, and I kept moving and going and going. So it was like through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend sort of thing. But I was finally able to reach them, and they learned of the film and agreed to contribute a song, which is quite amazing. I mean, it's the perfect song for the scene, and everyone who watches the film will know exactly what I mean. It's a song that comes off of the Joshua Tree, which is one of their earlier works. And, I was told that a song like that would normally cost around $250,000 if I were to license it, which I way don't have that money. So it was like such an amazing gift. And we've had other folks like that contribute. We have a couple of songs contributed by Moby. Laurie Anderson, who's such an amazing performing artist, is contributing music. And we even have some music and special performances by an individual from the Taos Pueblo of New Mexico. He's a Native American who's won 2 Grammys for his work, and he actually flew into New York to record some original music for us. So
that's amazing. Robert Mirabal?
Robert Mirabal, yes. Robert Mirabal, a wonderful
and then you have
musical artist.
Animation Cell doing the animation, and Dean Parker also, whose credits include Twilight series and Brothers.
Yeah, Dean, the composer, has worked on the Twilight series, all the Coen Brothers films. Yeah, and it's just been remarkable.
It is remarkable that people are donating and giving their time. But you're a little over 6,500, I believe, right? And you need to raise about 20,000.
Yeah. So we have a ways to go. And only a few more days. And as I said, every dollar counts. So, and is greatly, greatly appreciated, and will really go to helping animals.
And tax deductible too. Right.
Yes, we're sponsored by a nonprofit organization, so it's tax deductible. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about, I'm wondering, do you have the secret to the fountain of youth when it comes to pets? Because when it came to Paco Sosa living to be 20 and a half, what did you feed him? Were there any secrets to this?
Well, people have been asking me that since he turned 15, right? And actually, yes, he did eat some really healthy food. I'm a big believer in being as natural as possible in terms of what we eat, what we put in our body. So organic foods and try to stay away from medications that are from pharmacies and use natural means of curing oneself if possible. Mm. And so, Paco, I also practiced that and fed him very natural foods. And even when he would get sick, I try to find remedies that are actually natural remedies as opposed to getting pills from the doctors. Like for diarrhea, puree pumpkin is really good for things like that. So yes, I did feed him some good food, but first and foremost, I believe it's love.
Yeah.
There's nothing more powerful than love. And it wasn't just the love that I had for him that kept him going. It was the love he had for me. Mm-hmm. He wanted to be with me and take care of me as well. So it was really love.
That's so, yeah, I totally agree with that. It's, so touching. I want to get back to your film one more time, too, because I was asking you, why did you title it Wolf Dog? Why wolf? The wolf has a lot to do with your film.
Oh, yes, it does. The dream that I'd mentioned to you that really set all of this in course, it was actually a dream that I had about a wild wolf that started this whole thing. And when I went to New Mexico to speak with the Ancient Ones, I hadn't mentioned the dream to anyone, but the wolf kept coming up all the time, over and over and over. And I learned also in speaking, in particular with the people from the Pueblo communities, Pueblo Native American communities, that each animal, they believe, has a certain power. And the wolf is considered the animal that is the great teacher among the animals. And before I had set off to New Mexico, I had realized for me that Paco had been my greatest teacher. So I saw the link there. I was like, whoa, all these coincidences, and then the wolf being the teacher, who I believe Paco is for me. So at one point, we decided to go film some wild wolves because I felt like, I think it's important that we film the wolves and maybe get some footage so we can reenact this dream that I had, which seems to be important. I don't know why it's important. I just know it is. So it so happens that one of the very few wild wolf sanctuaries that you find in the country happens to be in New Mexico. So my camera guy and I drove out there, and I convinced the people there to let us go on the grounds with some of the wolves to film them. And I was off standing in another area far from where my camera guy was filming, and he was tracking this one beautiful wolf. All of a sudden, the wolf comes to me, runs to me, and it was totally unplanned and unexpected, jumps on me, rolls at my feet for a bit, licks my face, and then runs off. And the wolf is taller and bigger than I am.
Girl, you are brave.
Well, the thing is, I will never be able to explain it. When I saw this wolf coming, I just felt no fear whatsoever. I just felt like so happy. And no fear whatsoever. And it was just the most remarkable experience of my life. And I later showed a screen pull of this, which is like a still frame from the video that my camera guy captured. Mm-hmm. I showed a photo of this to a member of the Hopi tribe in New Mexico who's part of the Wolf Clan. And he told me that they believe when a wild animal licks your face, he's telling you that his spirit is going to be watching over you for the rest of your life. And that's when it really dawned upon me, or at least I believe, I came to the conclusion that this wolf that had been coming to me in my dream was Paco in his next life. Mm-hmm. And this wolf that came up and ran to me and licked my face and ran off was to be Paco in his next life.
Wow.
And so Paco, who is a dog, he is my wolf dog. He's my great teacher. And now he's running free in the land of the ancients as a wolf.
I love that story. That is just, it all comes together.
It all comes together. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this film. It's 85 minutes long, right?
Yes.
Estimated.
Yes.
It's going to be 85 minutes long. The film is called Wolf Dog, and it's filmed by Bernadine Santistevan. And if you would like to contribute and even just see a bit of this film, it's on Indiegogo.com, and you can do a search for Wolf Dog. And Bernadine, I truly wish you all the luck in this. And
thank you.
I believe our pets are some of our greatest teachers, and Paco Sosa continues to teach us all.
Yes. He's a wolf dog for all of us.
I know. Well, I want to keep in touch because I want to see how things go with you and with the film.
Definitely, and thank you so much. It's a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you so much for everything you're doing for our senior pets. It's so inspiring.
Well, thank you very much. Again, their website is indiegogo.com. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Of course, if you want to learn everything about senior pets, you can always go to my website, arf.com. That's ARFF.com. You only have how many days left before December and the end of National Adopt a Senior Pet Day? You have 2 days left, but every day is Adopt a Senior Pet Day, at least in my book. So again, support our senior dogs. They're some of the last to go in the shelters, and make them a part of your life, because Miko, my dog, made such a great impact on me and will always be a part of my life. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, see ya.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.